mag-social life naman ako.
Oh,
Kaya ako
congratulations.
nilipat sa umaga.
But yes, congratulations on the new show, Gretchen.
Yeah, and the gifts for us,
We were
just send it to the makeup room.
by
Thank you.
extension, the show right after, because we do have our little chit-chats. But yes, again, congratulations. Thank you so much, Gretchen, Reg, and Sean. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend, guys! Happy weekend.
Well, we've got the latest scores from the NBA, plus a breakdown of one of the craziest trade deadlines in the league. Associated Press NBA writer Tim Reynolds joins us live via Zoom.
And we've got updates from the PBA Commissioner's Cup quarterfinals, who are joining Northport and TNT in the next round.
I'm Nico Halili, sitting in for Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Calao.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.
Rabino, the show by Mamo Yudin, Future moves, puts it on. Unbelievable. Gemma on the left side. Oh, stopping another one. Bakunas rejecting Estevo for the win.
Even before the purple and gold debut of Luka Doncic, the Los Angeles Lakers continue to roll with LeBron James leading the way. The Lake Show notched its fourth straight win after beating the Golden State Warriors at the Crypto.com Arena, 112 to 120. King James dropped 42 points, including 6 triples to go with 17 rebounds and 8 assists. He joins Michael Jordan as the only players to score 40-plus points at age 40. The ageless one got the Lakers off to a hot start, allowing them to go up by as many as 26 points. But the Dubs answered back with a scorching run in the second half to pull within 5 with just 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. This rally prompted the King to step in and drain his 6th three-pointer to shut the door on Golden State for good. LBJ's old rival Steph Curry had 37 markers of his own for the Warriors in a losing effort. The surging Lakers improved to 30 wins and 19 losses with a one-game gap between them and the West's number 3 seed, the Houston Rockets. The Warriors fall to 25 victories and 26 defeats and are currently fighting for a play-in spot.
Before the game against the Lakers, Golden State's latest acquisition, Jimmy Butler, appeared before the media in LA. Jimmy Bucket spoke about his new squad and the opportunity to play with Steph Curry. He also shared how happy he was knowing that he'll be back to playing, in his words, meaningful basketball. The 2023 Eastern Conference Finals MVP also denied reports saying Golden State wasn't one of his preferred destinations. Butler is all set for his Warriors debut on Sunday against the Chicago Bulls. He was all smiles as he looked forward to helping the Dubs win another title while wearing jersey number 10.
This is a great choice, and the best part about everything is I never say anything, so nobody actually really knows what's really going on because it never comes from my mouth. So out of everything that's been going on, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be able to play basketball again, meaningful basketball at that. So I always leave it at that. I'm able to go and go out and do what I love, and I'm happy that it's for an organization like Golden State. That they always play winning basketball, and they'll do whatever it takes to win. I think that's what I respect most about those guys. And they've won at so many different levels, obviously, at the highest level, and done it multiple times. So not only can I bring some things to this team, I think they can teach me a whole lot. We good. Pass the ball to Steph and get out the way. Easy.
Meantime, Anthony Davis is still just cheering for Dallas from the sidelines, but the Mavericks still prevail over the Boston Celtics. The reigning champions came out flat on their own home floor, opening the door for the Mavs to claim a 127-120 victory. It was all Dallas in the first 3 quarters. They had a 19-point lead heading into the payoff period. This forced Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla to go to his bench, who surprisingly cut the deficit to single digits in the final minute. But it was a little too late as the Mavs held on to pull off the stunner. Klay Thompson top scored for Dallas with 25 points. Kyrie Irving finished with 19 markers. Daniel Gafford tallied 8 points and 15 rebounds in what could be his final start of the season to give way to AD. Davis is expected to make his Mavs debut on Sunday when they face the Rockets. Dallas is currently 8th in the West with a 27-25 win-loss slate. Boston settles for second place in the East with 36 victories against 16 setbacks. 4 more NBA games on tap today.
Here are the scores. Anthony Edwards drops at least 40 points for the second straight game as the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Houston Rockets 127-114. Another game, another triple-double for Nikola Jokic as the Denver Nuggets take down the Orlando Magic 112-90 for their 5th straight win.
Meanwhile, the surging Portland Trailblazers pick up their 6th win in a row after beating the Sacramento Kings 108-102. And lastly, the Indiana Pacers come back from a 22-point deficit to steal the win from the Los Angeles Clippers 119-112.
Moving on to the PBA, the Meralco Bolts live to fight another day. The Bolts force a do-or-die battle with Barangay Ginebra San Miguel in the Commissioner's Cup quarterfinals. Game 2 of this best-of-3 matchup was a tight one, but it was Meralco who had more in the tank to claim the 108-104 win. The Gin Kings tried hard to finish off the series as they hounded the Bolts all night long, but come the final quarter, Coach Luigi Trillo's Wards were able to increase their lead to 10, approaching the 3-minute mark. With the Bolts still up 4 with 10 seconds to go, RJ Abarrientos tried to tie the game with a 4-point heave but missed. Jansen Rios earned Player of the Game honors, tallying 15 points, including timely baskets that fended off Ginebra's runs. Akil Mitchell overcame foul trouble and posted a triple-double of 13 markers, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists. The sudden death Game 3 between Ginebra and Meralco will take place on Sunday at the Inaris Center in Antipolo.
Meantime, the Converge Fiber Xers are looking to finish off the rain or shine Elastipators in Game 2 of the Commissioner's Cup quarterfinals. Jordan Heading shot the lights out to start the game, finishing with 18 points in the first quarter alone, but rain or shine will not go away that easily. Adrian Nokum and Kellyan Johnson led a second quarter rally that saw the Painters pull even with seconds to go before the break. Converge import Chick Diallo did manage to score one inside right before the halftime buzzer to give the Fiber Xers the lead once more, 53-51. The second half of that game is currently ongoing. Converge is one win away from their first ever semifinal appearance since entering the league after beating Rain or Shine 130-118 in Game 1 of their series. After the break, we'll look into arguably the most chaotic trade deadline in the history of the NBA with Associated Press NBA writer Tim Reynolds. Don't miss out on that when Play-by-Play returns. And we're back. Thanks for joining us here on Play by Play. The NBA trade deadline finally passed this morning, ending perhaps the most chaotic mid-season the league has ever seen. And Jessica?
Yeah, to help us make sense of the crazy transactions that happened, especially in the past few days, we have the one and only Tim Reynolds, NBA writer of the Associated Press, joining us live via Zoom. Good evening from Manila, Tim. Good morning over on your side. Thank you for waking up and joining us here tonight.
I haven't slept in about 2 weeks, Jessica, so waking up to join you guys tonight was easy. It's almost like habit. You're still checking the phone every couple of hours, asking, did Jimmy get traded yet? Did Jimmy get traded yet? And then, you remember it actually is all over now, thankfully. But hi, it's good to see you both.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start things off with the craziest of them all, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis. We already know about the technicalities. We've heard of the conditioning issues, but how will this trade help the Lakers and the Mavs respectively? And for you, who do you think won this trade?
It's really tough to say who won it yet, but and I love Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is obviously an Olympic gold medalist. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. He's a walking 25, 15 double-double almost every night. But the Lakers got Luka Doncic. I mean, that's the whole point to me, is that the Lakers got Luka, and you don't give up Luka Doncic. Like, I'm still having trouble understanding what Dallas's motivation is. Yes, we know about the quote-unquote conditioning issues. He averaged 34, 9, and 10 last season. He had a 73-point game last season. He's almost unstoppable, and he always has these games, right, where we see Luka, my gosh, he's limping, he's walking gingerly, he's groaning, he's grabbing this, he's and then he drops 40 on you. Like, he's an unstoppable force, and he's only 25. I know he's been a pro for longer than most 25-year-olds. He started as a teenager, with Real. I don't buy any of the reasons Dallas is giving, or Dallas is even suggesting, as to why you trade Luka Doncic. They simply just did not want to give him a $350 million extension this summer that would have kicked in 26, 27. That's what largely this is about. For whatever reason, they said he's just not worth that money. The Lakers clearly believe he's worth big money. They can't give him the super max. They'll try to give him, obviously, the max extension. The Lakers win the trade, I think, because I think the Lakers can win a championship this year with Luka Doncic. I don't know if they could win a championship before this trade went down.
Tim, so LA gets Luka, Dallas gets AD. Do you still see holes in their rosters for the Lakers and the Mavericks?
No, because the Lakers addressed the hole. They needed a big man. They needed a lob threat. They go out and get Mark Williams from Charlotte, who, most people, unless you're really into the game, haven't heard of. But he's a perfect guy for a LeBron James team. He's going to get every rebound. He's really quick off the floor. He's not... he accelerates off the floor like a guard. I mean, he just gets in the air really quickly. Likes to play with pace, likes to get out in transition. He can move really well. Great hands, great feet. They're not going to run a single play for him ever. I mean, that's not why you get a guy like that. But they needed a big. They lost Anthony Davis. They needed a big. They went out and got a big. Dallas still has Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. Now they have Anthony Davis. You saw what they did in Boston last night here, this morning there. What am I supposed to say? Do I call it this morning's game when I'm talking about Dallas, Boston? For you guys, it's, you saw what they did. Their potential is still off the charts. They're going to be a very tough out in the West because they have winners. They have Kyrie Irving, who's a champion. They have Klay Thompson, who's a four-time champion. They have Anthony Davis, who's a champion. They have Jason Kidd, who's a champion and going to be a Hall of Famer. They're going to be a tough out, absolutely. I don't think Dallas has a hole, per se. They just don't have Luka. And there's only one Luka. You can't really replace that. Getting Anthony Davis, clearly they're going to be a defense-first team. We understand that, and that does work in the playoffs. But the Lakers, as currently constructed, I don't see a glaring hole. It's just like everybody else. If you make threes, it's a make or miss league, as our friend Eric Spoelstra always says. It's a make or miss league. If the Lakers make shots, if Austin Rivers makes shots, if LeBron James makes shots, if Rui Hachimura makes shots, they will be extremely difficult to beat.
And then, of course, we have to move on to the other big story, Jimmy Butler. Traded to the Warriors, how do you think Jimmy Buckets will help this Golden State squad? They're just outside of play-in contention. I think they're 11th with 25-26.
Yeah, 31 games to go, and they've got some work to do. But, Jimmy will give them the proverbial shot in the arm. Jimmy is motivated by only one thing. Now that he's got his contract, he's only motivated by one thing, and that's a championship. The Warriors have a very short window left with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, and when they can still realistically compete for championships. You never count Steph out, of course, but they know it's a now sort of thing, so they're all in. Look at the money they're spending, the next couple of years on Steph, Draymond, and now Jimmy. They have a path, as Mike Dunleavy said last night, the Warriors general manager. They have a path now. They have picks. They have young talent. They still have Stephen Curry. And Jimmy, when he arrives in a new place, he's really good. He's happy. He's energized by change. He's energized by challenge. It ran its course in Miami. And look, the breakup was hideous. And these 8, 9, 10 weeks, however long it's really gone on, they were not fun here. They were not fun for Jimmy. They were not fun for the Heat. They were not fun for me to cover or for anybody who covers this team. It was an ugly, ugly, ugly end. I hope Heat fans remember it was 5 really good years with a lot of really big, really good moments for Jimmy Butler. He's going to bring that same energy to Golden State. And look, he's 35, and guys decline as they get older, of course, but Jimmy's last real game, if you will, was 35 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists against Detroit in December. When he wants to bring it, he can still bring it. And he understands he's not the number one option in Golden State. He understands it's still Stephen Curry's team. You're going to see a very motivated, very eager, very energetic Jimmy Butler giving the Warriors that jolt of caffeine that they probably need right now.
Tim, if I'm a Warriors fan, should I feel bad that the Warriors had to give away a younger player in Andrew Wiggins?
Well, maybe, but you only feel bad if it doesn't work. I think they're a better team right now than they were a couple of days ago. And Andrew Wiggins is an enormous talent. I'm not saying Jimmy Butler's blanket better than Andrew Wiggins. Not necessarily what I'm saying. I think with Jimmy, and Steve Kerr alluded to this, in his news conference before the Laker game last night here. With Jimmy, he'll be on the floor when Stephen Curry goes to the bench. So for those 14, 15 minutes a game when Steph's not on the floor, excluding crunch time, excluding, when the game's been decided and all that, but for those 12, 13, 14 minutes when Steph's on the bench getting a rest at the end of quarters, Jimmy will be on the floor for the Golden State Warriors, and they'll run their offense through him. Jimmy will be the featured guy when Steph is not there. It's going to give them, I think, a few more options than they had with Andrew Wiggins. I think Jimmy can do more offensively than Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is probably a better shooter, but Jimmy's shot has gotten better. Jimmy can draw fouls as well as anybody in basketball. Jimmy can put his head down and get to the rim as easily as anybody in basketball. Sans maybe LeBron James. I think in the short term, they got better. But also, I just go back to that jolt. They're 25 and 26, like Cheska said a couple of minutes ago. They are right now, they're guaranteed nothing. The status quo would not have led to anything for Golden State. This is an all-in move. Let's get excited. Let's get excited by change. You shake it up with hopes that you're going to find that jolt, that burst, some magic here in these last 31 games. With Andrew Wiggins still there, you wouldn't have had that necessarily. Jimmy gives you that bolt of energy.
All right, well, Tim, you are so familiar with Heat culture, the team's ins and outs. What does this mean for the Heat? They've gone through, as you mentioned a while ago, it's been hideous the past month or so ever since Jimmy asked for a trade.
Hideous is about the most polite word I can say for what this has been like. It has not been fun here. And, I give a lot of credit to Spo. Spo never blinked in all of this. Spo just kept coaching the guys that he has. The leadership of this Heat team, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love. Kevin Love is such an important guy in that locker room. People look at the stats and say Kevin Love doesn't matter. Kevin Love is one of the most important guys on this roster because he has kept that room together. He's kept them laughing. We've all seen the Instagram posts. Sadly, Kevin retired from his Instagram trolling last night. It's a very sad day for all of us that we're gonna miss those posts. They needed this to end. They needed resolution because nobody wanted to know what today would have been like. What would today have been if Jimmy Butler wasn't traded? What would have happened? Would they have just sent him home and paid him? Would they have kept the suspension going? It would have gotten very ugly when they start taking $20 million for the rest of the season away from Jimmy Butler. Spo's done a great job. They needed an ending. They needed resolution to this whole crisis, if you will. And it did become a crisis because it overshadowed everything that was going on. And look, we see the standings. Yes, the Heat are in a little better position than the Warriors are right now, but they're right there around 500 where they've been all season. They go a couple games below, they get a couple games above. They need a shot in the arm too. They got younger. Andrew Wiggins is excellent. Andrew Wiggins, I believe, is going to fit Heat culture in a lot of ways. He's going to fit their defensive scheme. He can score. And look, don't think that Davion Mitchell is a throw-in. Davion Mitchell is a great on-ball defender, somebody the Heat has looked at a couple of times in the last couple of years. He can do some big things for them. And then for the future, they lowered their tax. They didn't get out of the tax. They didn't get out of Kyle Anderson. They could have, and they chose not to because they think Kyle Anderson makes them a better team this year. So they elected to stay in the tax, but they lowered the bill, and they have a lot of options for as far as picks, spending flexibility this summer. I think it's one of those deals that right now looks like the proverbial win-win. I think Golden State got the energy they needed, and Miami got financially better, got the cap sheet looks better now, the tax bill is a little bit smaller, and Eric Spoelstra has more options. Plus, finally, they just have resolution, and that was the biggest thing they needed.
A somewhat underrated transaction, buried in all the other chaotic trades, was De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs. Do you like this, Tim? How do you like San Antonio with Fox on board?
I love that the fact that they were able to get him and keep Steph Castle and keep Chris Paul. And that's so important to me because when you have Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs are trying something very unusual here. They're basically going to have 2 point guards on the floor. I know some people look at De'Aaron Fox as kind of a shooting guard, but he's a 1-2. I mean, the league doesn't really have positions anymore. We all know that. Victor Wembanyama plays 5 positions, period. So the Spurs, in Fox and Paul's first game together, 22 assists. 22 assists from your starting backcourt. When you have that in the NBA, you win. And that was their first night together. And Fox didn't really know a lot of the sets, didn't understand a lot of the spacing. He was taking a lot of shots that you're going to see Victor Wembanyama taking going forward. Look, De'Aaron Fox gets to throw lobs to Wemby now. Wemby loves the trade. Fox can learn from Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul, guys, is one of the best stories in the league this year. I truly believe that. He goes to San Antonio. He swallows his ego. He goes for $11 million, which is obviously a ton of money in the real world. In the NBA, that's below Chris Paul's usual paycheck. Let's face it. He goes there and he has been a model citizen. He has been a great player, a great mentor. He gets to mentor De'Aaron Fox now too. And it says something. Like, this is where the league is going now. De'Aaron Fox made it clear he wanted to go to San Antonio. Nobody said that in the last 5 years. Wonder why they're starting to say it now. It's because of the 7'4" French kid who just keeps getting better and better and better. The Spurs are doing this the right way. They're building with young talent. They bring in vets for leadership. They have a lot of picks. They have money, believe it or not, they can spend the next couple of summers. The Spurs are building this right, and you wouldn't have expected to go any other way when you look at the track record in San Antonio.
All right, well, we were just nodding our head along the entire time, just agreeing with everything you said. Tim, I wish we had more time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure listening to everything you shared with us. Again, that was Associated Press NBA writer Tim Reynolds. Coming up, the team rosters for the 3 squads competing in the 2025 NBA All-Star Game are officially set. A look into Team Shaq, Team Kenny, and Team Chuck when play-by-play returns. watching play-by-play on One News. Welcome back. A double header in the PVL All-Filipino Conference is coming your way tomorrow at the PhilSports Arena in Pasig City. In the first serving, a battle between two struggling teams as the Next-led Chameleons take on the Galleries Tower High-Risers at 4 p.m. Then for the main event at 6:30 p.m., it's the Akari Chargers going up against the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. You can catch both games live on One Sports Plus, and on the Pilipinas Live app.
We've got the PBA and the NBA in tonight's highlight reel. Cheska, I'm going to do this again. Let's see if I do a good job. And let's start off with Ginebra Meralco in the PBA. Let's check this out. Malonzo misses that one. But then watch for Troy Rosario with the tip no-go, but he gets it again, and this time it's good. Plus the foul. Troy Rosario putting in the work down low. He doesn't give up on the play, and he gets rewarded with a three-point play opportunity. Unfortunately, Rosario struggled as he only had 9 points. Ginebra drops game 2 of the best of 3 quarters against Meralco, 108-104. Let's go to the NBA. Timberwolves versus Rockets, and Anthony Edwards doing it all. This time, he finds Terrence Shannon Jr. on the baseline for the thunderous throwdown. And look out, Jalen Green. Sorry, Jalen. Shannon with a cannon. He finished with 5 points, and Atman exploded for 41. Marker, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Wolves beat the skidding Rockets, who have lost 5 in a row, 127-114. And finally, Lakers against the Warriors. And of course, King James makes his way to our highlight reel with this powerful jam. Check out the pick and roll with Austin Reeves, LeBron with a delayed cut, then the slam over Buddy Hield. 40 years old and still doing stuff like this. The King finished with 42 points, 17 rebounds, and 8 assists as the Lakers held off the Warriors 120-112.
Thank you for the highlights, Miko. And before we go, the rosters for 3 of the 4 teams in the 2025 NBA All-Star Game are set. Inside the NBA crew and legends, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith acted as general managers in the All-Star Draft. Team Shaq got the first overall pick, and he used it to get LeBron James. Joining him are former teammate Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, as well as Dame Lillard, James Harden, and Jaylen Brown. Anthony Edwards headlines Team Kenny, who got the second overall pick. Joining him are Jalen Brunson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Darius Garland, and All-Star debutants Jalen Williams, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, and Tyler Hero. Reigning MVP Nikola Jokic moved way up from his draft position in real life after getting selected 3rd overall by Team Chuck. He's joined by another MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and this year's MVP frontrunner so far, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Also drafted to Team Chuck are Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, and first-timers Victor Wembanyama and Alperen Sengun. The winner of the Rising Stars Challenge completes the 4-team mini-tournament and will be Team Candace Parker.
And that's all from us tonight. Catch us again Monday at 9 p.m. for a play-by-play of the day's top stories.
Play-by-play is on One News, that's Signal TV Channel 8 on SD and Channel 250 on HD. We are also available on Signal Play and Pilipinas Live.
I'm Miko Halili, sitting in for Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Calao. Thank you for watching. Happy weekend, everyone. Good night.